Hello. I'd like to talk about motifs. I'd like to talk motifs in terms of how they're used to analyze stories, folk tales. Now, bit of a caveat. I studied in linguistics. I did not study in folk studies. So I tend to come to this through etymology, for example, and just the enjoyment and the enriching enjoyment of learning about folktales and comparing them, analyzing them. And then so I came across the expression motif, and I guess it's my understanding. It might be wrong. However, from what I've seen up to now, my gosh, I'm quite critical about the use of motifs to better analyze folktales. In order to show this, in order to demonstrate what I'm trying to say, I wanted to compare two folktales. One of them is from French Canada, from Quebec, and it's called La Chasse-Galerie. And the title, at least, is present in France, in Western France, in the Poitou region. And the problem is that the title is the same and the stories are a little bit different. People have said that the stories in French Canada are very much influenced by native stories, and that's quite likely, looking at that. At any rate, I'll look at that. But it has to do with the Chasse-Galerie is a story where, I'll tell you the story in a bit, but it's about a flying canoe. And so that's interesting. And when I came across, a long time ago, a story from Indonesia where there is also a flying boat, not a canoe, but a flying boat. And I thought it'd be interesting to compare the two and see how they differ, and talk about motifs and how it helps or doesn't help the analysis of this. So let me start by giving a quick summary of La Chasse-Galerie. La Chasse-Galerie, you can find some really nice storytellers out there, and I'll give some links. But for here and now, I wanted to do just a quick summary of the story so we can analyze it basically. So I'm just going to take all of the fun out of this right now. So it's the story of a young man who's working in a camp, lumberjack camp. So he's a young man. He has no experience, and then it's a rough world, just with guys everywhere working so many hours, and they have experience and they're not helping him as much perhaps, and he's just finding life very, very difficult in those winter days. And by the way, the reason why you might wonder why people cut wood during the winter time, that's the best time to cut it. Actually, when the tree is frozen, then it's easier to cut. So we have this young man, and he's homesick, and he's feeling his body hurts everywhere. Probably he's just like learning his trade, if you will, and Christmas is coming, or Christmas has passed, and now it's New Year's, and he would like to go home and dance with his loved one, because he is in love with a girl back home, and she's there waiting, and he'd rather be there. So he wishes that so much that he ends up doing that either the devil appears, or he summons the devil, I'm not sure, and he makes a pact with the devil, and the devil essentially offers him a flying canoe, and with this flying canoe he's going to go home, and he's going to take some guys with him. So he makes the pact with the devil, and I guess he gives him his soul. That's usually the case. So he brings some guys in the canoe, and off they go canoeing in the middle of the night, and then they arrive in their home village and home in their house, and then the girl is there, and he dances with the girl. People are surprised at first. My gosh, how were you able to come? And of course they lie basically and say they found some way. And then roughly around midnight, I guess, they hop back in the canoe, and they have to go back to the lumber camp. They and then there's part of the, depending on the stories and the different versions of the story, if he swears, then maybe, or someone in the boat swears, then the boat will fall, or it'll go to hell all at the same time, something like that. At any rate, so they arrive all safe and sound, and that's basically the end of the story. There's lots of warnings in that story, and we're made to feel scared for them throughout the ride. So that's the chasse-galerie. The chasse-galerie. The French version of that I've never read and I've never heard, and I've been asking, I've been looking, but I haven't come across it up until now. However, as it's been described, it's a story where they're in the woods. So you're in the house, and then you come out of your house, and then maybe there's a forest in the woods, and then you hear this loud sound, all the clanging sounds, and then there's a procession, just a large group of people, and they're out on a hunt. Hence the term la chasse-galerie. Chasse means to hunt, and galerie is explained as the seigneur de galerie, the Sir Galerie. So that would be his. And what we realize is that, of course, they're all dead, and it's kind of like and for eternity they're off hunting like this and making noise. And the noise, of course, is to, I imagine, scare animals. And they're going to be hunting, and then another person is on the other side, and it's a classic old-fashioned type of a hunt, medieval hunt, if you will. And then a little thing about this, little detail, important detail, if you ask them for some meat, they will provide you with bits and parts of human corpses, and they will fall in front of you. And so I guess we're made to understand that they are hunting humans, basically. So that's the chasse-galerie. So very scary. But if I compare the two, between the French-Canadian version and the version from Poitou, it's not readily obvious to me that they are similar. Again, the term motif has been used in order to show that they were similar. But frankly, aside from the title, I don't see it. I don't see this. This similarity. I'm going to move away now from comparing these two, because I want to talk about a completely different story about flying boats, and I'm going to stop right now and continue in the next one.